Hello, and thanks again for joining us on the Lake Area Chalk Talk, the only TV show here at Lake of the Ozarks with the high school and prep sports scene in mind. Coming up on the program today, we'll talk it over with Shannon Jolly, the head coach of the Eldon football team, and Brenda Hayes, the head coach of the Osage girls golf team. We'll also have a player spotlight with Brad Dinwiddie from the Eldon Mustangs. First of all, let's get to that scoreboard from this past week. In the Ozark Conference, first of all, it was Camdenton losing to Kickapoo 15-9, Hillcrest over Glendale 35-8, Lebanon knocked off Rolla 41-14, Waynesville defeating Joplin 57-37, and Parkview over West Plains 42-21. In the Tri-County Conference, Osage big over Eldon 48-8, Blair Oaks getting by California 29-7, and Versailles knocked off Warsaw 62-0. Checking those standings after 5 weeks. First of all, in the Ozark Conference, the Lebanon Yellow Jackets on top with a 4-0 mark. Hillcrest 3-0. Glendale and Kickapoo coming in with 4-1 conference records. Waynesville, Joplin, Parkview all at 2-3. The Camdenton Lakers 1-3. Rolla 1-4, and West Plains coming in at 0-5. In the Tri-County Conference, the Osage Indians on top 5-0 overall, 3-0 in the conference. Blair Oaks 2-1 in the conference. Versailles and California both 1-1. Eldon 0-1, and Warsaw 0-3. That is how we stand after 5 weeks of football. Stick around. When we continue, Coach Shannon Jolly from the Eldon Mustangs on the Lake Area Chalk Talk.
Distracted driving. It accounts for 25% of car crashes. Music, cell phones, food, the list goes on.
This is why safe driving is so important.
Correct.
And it's why the best agents help safe drivers get a lower rate.
Oh, exactly.
We are insurance.
We are farmers. Bum, ba, bum, 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 bum.
Agents, what did we learn here today?
That lint balls are extremely flammable.
Well, yeah.
And that 15,000 dryer fires happen every year.
That's why it's important to regularly clean and inspect your vents.
Correct.
Where did you get that?
I built it.
We are insurance.
We are farmers. Bum, ba, bum, 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 bum.
And back on the Lake Area Chalk Talk, the only prep talk show, or the only prep TV show here at Lake of the Ozarks. Joining us in the studio now, Coach Shannon Jolly from the Eldon Mustangs. They played Osage this past week. And first of all, Coach, how'd it feel to play a home game?
I think it felt better than everybody else. We, as I said before, we didn't mind traveling so much in the first 4 games. I think it creates a little bit more focus for our team when we take off and travel. But, it was a great atmosphere, and I think everybody enjoyed being at home. And I know a lot of people got to come to the game that may not have got to see some of our away games. So I guess it was nice to be home. Okay,
the final score, 48-8, not exactly what you wanted, but your thoughts overall on the game?
We were pretty disappointed. I mean, I've said in the paper media, I thought Osage played in a tremendous game. They threw the ball extremely well and did a great job. We just didn't play very well, and it's not to take away from them. We've played really good football the first 4 games, and then to come out in a game that a conference game and a team that's as talented as Osage, we really wanted to put our best foot forward, and we struggled at times, and specifically up front on the offensive line, but just not a very good job at the back end tackling either. So it was just one that wasn't meant to be, and like I said before, Osage, we pretty much got whipped. 40 points is going to be a good loss for anybody.
I was going to say, I know before going on, we kind of talked about it, and I didn't think it was really that bad of a game. You guys actually took the lead early, and then an interception down by the Osage goal line, and that's pretty much where it started snowballing on you.
Yeah, it did. It got away from us. And when you play a team as talented as Osage with their speed and their ability to make big plays. That's what's going to happen, and we knew that coming in. And like I said, we didn't execute. We didn't do the things that we had control over, and that was probably the most disappointing part about it.
Wondering about the 2-point call after the first touchdown.
Just something to maybe add a little bit of momentum going in, and to be honest with you, our kicking game hasn't been as solid as I like it to be. And we got some guys making plays on offense, either carrying the ball or putting the ball in the right hands. So you take a shot early to maybe get a lead and try to gain some momentum, and we did. It just unfortunately didn't last long enough.
I was going to say the Mustang crowd was very loud at that point, and I know a couple of the people over on the sideline with the cameras were like, "Oh boy, here we go! This is going to be a good one."
Yeah, and it was slated to be a good one. In last year's contest, coming down to the wire, I think we played a near perfect game last year to be where we were last year. But like I said, it was an Eldon Osage rival game, and although it got a little bit tiring throughout the week listening to the talk about it, I still understand that it's healthy for high school football. And like I said, as long as our fans and the Osage fans understand that there's still high school kids playing and trying to win football games, it's I think it's going to be a good thing in the future.
What are the positives that you will pull from the game?
Well, I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, we didn't have a whole lot of positives as far as our play. But I think the things you take from it are things that you can work to get better on. And essentially, the positives you take is the things that you fix. Hopefully, you won't have to deal with them in weeks 8, 9, and 10 when you get into district play. So that's what we took from it, is some things. And, when you're in a game like that with a lot of significance, in a conference game, large crowd, rival game, that way the atmosphere and stuff, maybe the kids kind of been there, done that. So as we get closer to district play, hopefully our kids will be a little bit more settled in and not as nervous.
North Callaway, Hallsville, El Dorado Springs, they were wins. Blair Oaks and Osage losses now. In years past, you may not be able to say that those would be wins, but is Osage or is Eldon over that or turning that first corner now by beating the teams they should be beating?
I don't know if I would say turning the corner, but I think those are what we expect. And I'm not so sure. You mentioned Blair Oaks. It was actually Westran is who we lost to.
Or Westran, I'm sorry.
And that's okay. A pretty talented team, and that came down to the wire. We lost in overtime. But when people talk about teams that you should be beating, I still tell our kids, I don't know that we should be beating anybody. When you win one game over the last 3 years, your expectations inside are pretty clear to each other. But, I don't know. We're still kind of feeling our way. But we're excited about the football team we have, and I'm excited about the way our kids have handled the season so far. So, expectations continue to be to find a playoff spot at the end of the year.
I was going to say, with the good start that you guys had, you say, you may not expect to win the games, but is this maybe a way to kind of guard against a little bit of overconfidence with that start?
I don't think there was any doubt that we did not have any overconfidence. I mean, that's not where we were at. I just think, to be honest with you, as much hype that was put into Friday night's game, and rightfully so, I guess, our kids played nervous, and we overplayed situations, and that's some things that we haven't seen our kids do yet. So that was a little bit tough for us to make adjustments and react. And in fact, we didn't react very well at all. And so being overconfident is definitely not something that our kids have to deal with. I mean, I still think they have high expectations, but they understand also we got a long way to go.
But last year, taking Osage to where you did in that game, and then starting out with the record this year, I think, myself included, I'm just like, this is either going to be a really close game or it's going to be a big difference in the score. And I was leaning more towards the close game. Well,
and I think everybody was, but I guess unfortunately for everybody, they're not at practice every day and understand what really goes on. But like I said, we appreciated the attention and the crowd and everything. It was great. But we knew how good Osage was going to be, and we knew the problems that we were going to face in matching up with them, especially in the secondary if they got deep into our secondary with the open field tackling, which we didn't do a very good job of. So, I think our expectation obviously was not to lose by 40 points, but we knew we'd have to play a perfect game to compete for a win at the end of the game.
Okay, not to jinx you, but this week against Warsaw should be a win with the struggles that the Wildcats have. But after that, it's going to get considerably tougher with Blair Oaks, Versailles, Boonville, and California. Look into the crystal ball. how are we going to end up with those 5 games?
I tell you what we're looking at is we're looking at our practice schedule tomorrow, and we're going to see how we can get better tomorrow. I really think that's been one of our things is our kids are gaining some attention, and like I said, from our community and from some people, because they're excited about what they're doing, which I think is awesome. But also we need to listen to ourselves and understand. I know the schedule is going to be tough at the end, but I can honestly say we're focused completely on Warsaw, and I don't think necessarily that should be a win either. I think it's going to be one that I think Warsaw is going to come out and get better each week, and they're a little bit banged up and they're short on numbers, but I think that's a team that's a little bit rich in tradition, and I don't think they're going to lay down easy for anybody.
I was going to say, you're definitely not going to like my next question then. I was going to say, Warsaw in the past has had I'll just call it a habit of running up some scores. If the Mustangs are in that position to exact a little bit of revenge, when do you call off the Dogs?
I don't. I wouldn't even say that I know. I've coached against Coach Morrow at Warsaw for several years, and I've never been in a situation where I've seen him run the score up. I really haven't. So I'm not for sure where that's coming from. That might have been before I got to Eldon or Osage. But Coach Morrow's always been a class act. I know they've changed hands a little bit, but I don't think anybody will be needing to call any Dogs off. I just want to make sure that we fix some mistakes that we fell into last week against Osage.
Pretty healthy going into the game?
Yeah, we're healthy. I laugh because we've got some guys banged up. We've got 4 or 5 guys banged up, but we're not going to talk about being unhealthy. I think it's just something you got to work through at this time of the year, mid-season, and we're going to play, and we're going to play the guys. And we talked about it at practice today. You play hurt, you play injured, and that's what high school football is about. And I think those are the things that you learn more than anything. And so we'll be okay Friday. We may be one man down. We got a high ankle sprain on one of our offensive linemen, but other than that, I think we'll be there.
Final question. We're going to be doing an in-studio player spotlight coming up here in just a moment with Brad Dinwiddie. What about Dinwiddie? Your thoughts on him as a player and a student?
Well, I mean, Brad represents himself. You asked me, and I'll tell you, he's been a tremendous privilege for me to coach. He's one of the nicest young men that I've ever met since I've been coaching. And one of the things I think that makes this young man special, he's a good teammate, and he's well liked within our school and our community. And I think it's because he's nice to people, and he's very respectful to our faculty, and his work ethic is second to none. There may be some guys that work as hard as Brad on our team, but I know nobody outworks him. And he's been fortunate. His running style has really become more aggressive this year, and I think that's a lot due to his work in the weight room. But you'll see Brad on TV, and he's had some great opportunities to run the ball and to gain quite a few yards early. But like I said, he's a better person than he is a player, and I think fittingly, talking to him tonight's going to be something well deserved.
Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you.
Coach Shannon Jolly from the Eldon Mustangs. Coming up, that player spotlight with Brad Dinwiddie from the Eldon Mustangs right here on the Lake Area Chalk Talk.
What makes an Amana brand furnace so comfortable for your life? Simple. Our lifetime unit replacement limited warranty. Introducing premium gas furnaces from Amana brand. Amana. Last and last and last.
Back on the Lake Area Chalk Talk, and joining us in the studio now, Brad Dinwiddie from the Eldon Mustangs is part of a player spotlight, not necessarily focusing on what he's doing on the football field, but rather off the football field. First of all, Brad, thanks for taking the time.
You're welcome.
You are one of only 11 students chosen statewide to be a voice for the student population across Missouri. Talking about the Missouri State High School Activities Association, you're on the Student Advisory Committee. How did that come about? Was that something you pursued? Somebody nominate you, or?
Well, my sophomore year, Coach Silvers and Coach Jolly approached me with an application, and they said it'd be a great opportunity for me to get my name out and do great things in the state. So I applied and was luckily chosen, and I've done great things with it.
What's all involved in being the representative?
Well, we meet a few times throughout the year. We've met 3 times already this year, and I'll continue it through my senior year in that summer. We planned the Sportsmanship Summit, which has been in St. Charles in the past, but this year just recently moved to Columbia Hickman High School. And with that, we planned it, we helped host it, and we also, my sophomore year, took a trip to Indianapolis, Indiana, where there were 330 members from across the nation, and also, I believe, 40 members from Canada. And it was a really great opportunity to meet people and talk about different leadership things, and I learned a lot and taken it back to my town.
What's been the biggest issue you've had to deal with?
Well, we get together and discuss different issues. So our biggest issue was the new football format that's coming up. We've talked in depth about that and whether we like it. There's, I believe, four male members on the committee, and we all like to talk about that, and the girls don't much. But
any coaching from the coaches as far as the football format?
No, not really.
As far as being the district representative, is this something that you have until you graduate, or do they do it again sometime where you could be knocked off it, or what?
Yes, it's until you graduate. That way you can get a full grasp of it and get an understanding of how it works. So I was elected as a sophomore, and there was a freshman that year, and she'll be on it luckily for 4 years. I only get to be on it for 3, but yeah, it's something that they re-elect once the person graduates.
So you have an issue, you have to go to a meeting, have to talk about it. Do you kind of get together with buddies from other schools and say, hey, I want your feedback on this?
We don't necessarily do that, but they chose us based on our leadership qualities, so they expect us to know how other people feel about an issue and interact with other students. So, yeah. And we've also meet with MISH Sportsmanship Committee, which is a group of athletic directors throughout the state, and we get their opinions from their schools as well.
Pretty good grades?
Yeah, I have, I believe, 4.05 GPA.
4.05?
Yes.
Kids, if you're watching that, never mind. Football, basketball, you play both. I know Coach Jolly's around in the area. Which one do you prefer?
Definitely football. It's just nothing better than Friday night.
Good answer there. Thanks for taking the time.
You're welcome.
Brad Dinwiddie, the Central District Representative for the Missouri State High School Activities Association, and our player spotlight for this week. When we return, we'll talk it over with Osage girls golf coach Brenda Hayes. Stick around. The Lake Area Chalk Talk continuing right after this.
Distracted driving. It accounts for 25% of car crashes. Music, cell phones, food, the list goes on.
This is why safe driving is so important.
Correct.
And it's why the best agents help safe drivers get a lower rate.
Oh, exactly.
We are insurance.
We are farmers. Bum, ba, bum, 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 bum.
Bootlegger Sports Book and Grill in the Stonecrest Mall. Osage Beach is the sports headquarters at the lake with more than 20 flat screens with every game on. Home of Bootlegger's Idol every Thursday at 8 p.m. Also home of Dueling Pianos every Friday and Saturday at 8 p.m. www.bootleggersgrill.com or call 573-348-1443. Bootlegger Sports Book and Grill.
What makes an Amana brand furnace so comfortable for your life? Simple, our lifetime unit replacement limited warranty. Introducing premium gas furnaces from Amana brand. Amana, lasts and lasts and lasts.
Agents, what did we learn here today?
That lint balls are extremely flammable.
Well, yeah.
And that 15,000 dryer fires happen every year.
That's why it's important to regularly clean and inspect your vents.
Correct.
Where did you get that?
I built it.
We are insurance.
We are farmers. Bum, ba, bum, 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 bum.
Back on the Lake Area Chalk Talk, and for this week we hit the golf course again. We talk it over with Brenda Hayes, the Osage girls golf coach. And Coach, first of all, thanks for taking the time.
No problem. Glad to do it.
The regular season now over as far as the girls were concerned, and the season as a whole. Your general thoughts?
Girls have done a great job this year. Started out with 7 girls, ended up with 6. Had one girl with an injury. You know, and of those 6, 3 of them were beginners to the game. So this year we've had a really good season, knowing that about half of our group was, you know, experienced, half was not. So they've done a great job.
I was going to say, you say you had 7 girls at the beginning, and you know, you picture like a football team that has 50, 60 kids, and then you have 15 people maybe on volleyball.
Right.
So I mean, there's not a whole lot, you know, as far as the pool is concerned. Was 7 a good number?
Yeah,
for
7's
you,
a good number for us. It's probably been one of my biggest numbers. Camdenton, bigger schools will have 10. It does take 5 girls to field a varsity, 5 for a JV. So we've been able to fill a varsity team. My very first year starting at Osage, I started with 3. So we've built it up over the years, and so it was a pretty good number for us.
How much credit, I mean, do you see girls golf getting as much credit as it should?
Well, I do think that a lot of girls see this as, well, I try volleyball, I try softball, maybe not real successful, and I've always told them I'll take them any day, they'll get to play for me. But I have noticed, I've been very active in the LOJGA program here at the lake, and one of the things I have noticed over the past couple of years is that more and more girls are coming out to play in the summer, which is only going to feed into our school programs. I know when my daughter started several years ago, she was the only girl in her age group. And now this year, some of the girls' age groups were bigger than the boys. So I'm hoping to see that spill over into the school year too, with those girls playing.
I was going to say, since you already touched on the Junior Golf Association, you know, how much is it actually meant for golf as a whole here in the lake area?
Oh, it's a tremendous program for our youngsters. I promote that with my girls especially, because it's been great with my own children. I've had a son who's played in it, and also my daughter. It gives those kids a chance to go out and play, and it's a fun environment where they can learn the game of golf and learn the rules and have a good time with it. And then as they get a little older, then they can get on the competitive side of that. And that's a lot of things that colleges and other places look for too, other than just the school season.
Basically, for those who don't know, the Junior Golf Association, about a 7 or 8 week season,
right?
Or 7 or 8 tournaments season.
Yeah. They usually start in June, and we'll do a tournament a week. There's 6 or 8 tournaments, and then a championship in August, first week in August.
And for all those parents out there right now going, oh my gosh, it's going to cost an arm and a leg, they play at a discounted rate.
Yes, they do. And they're offered they buy a card. I want to say it's $30, and then the parents too are entitled to go out and play with their youngster at reduced rates or twilight rates, and the kids are able to play all over the lake area.
Well, there you go. You probably just got a lot more parents
interested
when you said that. Now, as far as your girls were concerned, you know, what was the final record? I mean, did you keep a record?
We ended up this year. I had to look it over this morning. We played 9 9-hole matches. We placed first in 3 of those, second in 4 of them, and then third place in 2 of those matches. So we ended up with a really good record this year. We improved over last year. And a lot of those second place and third place, you know, positions, we only missed it by 1 stroke, 2 strokes, you know. So we were in the money again this year as a team, which we really haven't been in the past few years as a beginning program.
I know when Bart Denbo used to be the coach, I used to ask him the same question, but, you know, with golf being such an individual sport, you know, it's like, you know, how do you actually do the coaching with it? Because, I mean, it's a team sport, but individual.
It's actually, what I tell my girls is, each of you go out and play as individuals. And then when we get finished with it, if everybody has a good night, then our team has a good night. And so I approach it in that instance. When you play golf, you're the only person that can swing that club. You don't have to depend on anyone else. It's all up to you. So each girl can go out and play to the best of their ability, and if they do that, then we come together as a team.
Overall, for the regular season, what kind of a grade would you give the team?
You know, I would probably give B-, C+, and that's mainly because of our beginners, and they have to understand if they show up August 8th and they've never swung a golf club before in their life, that first season really is just truly a learning experience. And then our seasoned golfers kind of have to help help that along and get that score up. So they're who we bank on. So hopefully next year, my 2 beginning freshmen should return, and then they've got a season under their belt, and then that improvement can start over the next 3 years.
You're probably going to get a lot of trouble at school for the rest of the week with that grade.
Yeah, well, I may, but I'm going to be honest with them. There's some work to be done, especially with our beginning girls.
Taylor, for the most part, on top with the scores. As far as the other girls were concerned, how would you talk about their years?
Kristin Shaffer is a senior that's going to be leaving us this year. I've had Kristin in my team for 3 years. I've known Kristin personally for all those years too. She's a great kid. She has improved her average at least 4 strokes this year, which is a big improvement in golf. She worked at Dogwood this past summer, Dogwood Hills, and so she was able to be on the golf course more in the summer. She played in more of the summer events, and in turn, her season has been better. So she's really, really improved. Caitlin Weeks is a junior for us this year. Her improvement has been 5 strokes this year. I just figured all this up the other day. And her game is much, much better than it was last year. She needs to work on chipping and putting, and so they all have their areas they need to work on. So if Caitlin can come back next year and improve upon that, then that's really going to help us out in the long run.
Well, I got a good way to do it. Maybe go around to the courses and say, hey, do you need some hired help?
Yeah, really.
Then they can play golf all they want.
It really does help. They're around the atmosphere, and I told Kristin, if you'll go in early before you start work, go hit a bucket of balls, then go to work. And I think she did that a lot, and that makes all the difference in the world.
Well, believe it or not, yours truly was a jigger jogger at an area course, and I enjoyed the free golf too.
Right,
so.
That's always nice. That's always nice.
Of course, well, we won't go into it. In general, is golf in the lake area where it should be? Eldon, they struggle to put out a girls' team.
Right.
But, as far as in general,
I think Camdenton and Osage do a really good job with that. Jane Edson's a great coach in Camdenton. She and I are really good friends. We encourage, would like to get more kids in the Eldon. Eugene has a team of 4 this year, which is good. They're going to be in our district conference. And that's good. We've got Cole Camp. I know Tammy Keck there tries to work with those kids and get them involved in those programs. So I think one of the myths that we like to dispel is that most parents think, well, it's so expensive. And we try to make it, or I do as a coach, as inexpensive as we possibly can, and so that way those kids can come out and enjoy the game of golf. And the nice thing about it is once Kristin graduates, Cassidy Hicks is another senior that came out for us this year. They have a lifelong sport. Their sport doesn't stop their senior year. And I had, Kimmy Brake played for me last year, and she came out and played with the girls this past fall before she went to college. And that's so fun as a coach and as a teacher to see that with the girls.
It's just one of those sports where it can be so frustrating hitting that little white ball 200 or 300 yards and trying to get in that hole.
Right. And I think our beginners see that. I think a lot of my girls who think, oh, I'm just going to come out for golf. Well, it's going to be easy to hit that little white ball. And they realize there's a lot to it. And so that's good for our game too.
Did a spotlight last week with Taylor, and the general consensus between you and her was daughter would beat mom.
Oh, absolutely.
How badly would it be?
Oh, it would be bad. It would be really bad.
So what do you shoot?
I'm not. I don't keep score anymore. I don't ever keep score.
That is chicken.
And I'm a chicken. Now, I didn't start playing until Taylor was probably 8 years old, and my kids started playing. So I played just for the fun of the game. Everyone else in my family is very competitive. So mom's the one that just plays for fun.
Coach, thanks for taking the time.
Thanks.
Coach Brenda Hayes from the Osage girls golf team. We appreciate her time on the program today. Stick around when we come back, our final segment on the Lake Area Chalk Talk on Channel 32.
What makes an Amana brand furnace so comfortable for your life? Simple. Our lifetime unit replacement limited warranty. Introducing premium gas furnaces from Amana brand. Amana. Lasts and lasts and lasts.
Welcome back to the Lake Area Chalk Talk, the final segment of the program. Just a couple minutes to go. Let's put a word in right now for our sponsors. First of all, Bootleggers Sportsbook and Grill, providing the food for the crew and the guest here tonight. Also, Quick Car with all types of services for your vehicles. Chris Wagner, Farmers Insurance, and Scott's Heating and Cooling. Make sure you go by there and tell them thank you for making this show possible. Coming up, high school football this week. First of all, in the Ozark Conference, the Camdenton Lakers, they will be at home. It will be a homecoming. The Lakers will be taking on West Plains. West Plains 0-5 on the year. The Lakers only 1-4, so hopefully Camdenton can get back on the winning track. Lebanon will be at Kickapoo in a battle of 4-1s overall. Hillcrest at Waynesville, Joplin at Rolla, Glendale at Springfield Central, and it'll be Parkview at Willard. Over in the Tri-County Conference, California visiting Osage. Osage 5-0, 3-0 in the conference. California 3-2, 1-1 in the conference. Blair Oaks and Versailles with 4-1 overall records. The Falcons 2-1 in the conference. The Tigers 1-1. And Warsaw 0-5 overall, 0-3 in the conference. Eldon 3-2. 0-1 in the conference. For Osage and Camdenton, it is both homecoming. We will have the cameras at both of those games. In the meantime, go on out, enjoy your favorite sports event at one of the local high schools, and remember that the kids out there playing are just performers for your enjoyment and mine, and the officials out there, they're just like you and I. Give them a break if a call goes the way you don't like it to go. That'll do it. Thanks for joining us on the Lake Area Chalk Talk on Lake TV, Channel 32.
Catch up the latest from Eldon, School of the Osage, and Camdenton, only on Chalk Talk. Wednesdays through Friday on Lake TV.
Bootleggers Sportsbook and Grill in the Stonecrest Mall. Osage Beach is the sports headquarters at the lake with more than 20 flat screens with every game on. Home of Bootleggers Idol every Thursday at 8 p.m. Also home of Dueling Pianos every Friday and Saturday at 8 p.m. www.bootleggersgrill.com or call 573-348-1443. Bootleggers Sportsbook and Grill.